Boom, this is Sexy Boot Guy, and today I'm reviewing a pair of deadstock 1999 Red Wing 877s. Right, oh yeah, this is the Sexy Boot Guy. Welcome back to the Sexy Boot Guy show. Look at that boot, man. Look at this boot, okay? This is a pre-millennial 877. Alright, this is the 8... Okay, let me get this camera right. This is the Red Wing 877 reissue, baby boy. Look at that fucking boot. Okay? The Red Wing Steve McQueen 877. Welcome back to the Sexy Boot Guy. Oh, yeah, baby. Okay, this is not about me. This is about the boot. Because this is what I call interesting boot. Due to be released... TBD sometime next year, right? This has come from Red Wing, custom order only. These boots are movie prop grade. This is what I'm reviewing today. This is a 1999 turn of the century Red Wing boot, okay? Heavy, hot, infused, full grain, nappy leather. 22% oil. Like This is an oil bomb. I got this boot and let me show you something here. Look at this spot right here. I got this boot and I didn't even know if I was going to keep it because I didn't want to spend the money on them. It was the 877 was one of my dream boots. See, you look at this, you see... Okay, this boot looks like it was drawn with a crayon, worn by the hero in a Miyazaki film, right? Like that is the hero of an anime is running through the forest in Japan in late October, crunching over crispy colored leaves on the ground with his tall moccasin boots. He has a bow and arrow in one hand and a quiver over his shoulder. And he's on a quest to assassinate the Dark Prince of the Forest or something. But this is the boot that he's wearing. This is the hero boot. This is the Miyazaki hero boot, really. Cold, autumn, Japan. So you look at this thing. Just look at the way that's sort of almost hand-painted on there. I mean, it's all... double-stitched, sewn in. So if you look down here, it's nappy. It's thick. Okay. The tongue is thick, nappy leather. Like it's furry. It's furry like a stuffed bear. The inside is like a stuffed toy. So when I got these in the mail, they look tiny. I opened the box. I was planning to send them back, but I opened the box... And the first thing I noticed was the smell. It's like, the smell's like candy. I'm going to show you something here. I'll do a longer video later, but this here, this is the 10877 from the Red Wing work line, okay? Basically, here in Canada, this is the same amount of money. This boot is a $450 before taxes boot, a real 877, same price. So it's it's got the silhouette, but look, that is like a straight line. The stitching is like a straight line. It's got no wax on it. It's very matte. And you smell this thing, it smells like every aisle at Canadian Tire. All right, it smells like the tire section at Walmart. It smells like the rubber toy collection at Costco. Like this one smells like a sex cafe. This is like the most expensive aisle at the most expensive sex store you've ever been in. This is... Let me have another smell here. Woo! Woo! That's a smell that makes you howl at the moon. Look at this. Look at the sole. I know you probably can't see in this light, but the sole of these boots is actually a faded yoke. And you see how it has this gentle curve, a sloping Popeye the Sailor Man curve on it. The new one, as you can see, is just dead flat, right? This, again, this smells like aisle 5 at every store that ever sold a patent leather jacket or winter tires. It's I mean, that's you can tell it's leather. You know it's leather. I mean, it does create a barrier between your foot and the earth. The laces they are there. The laces are there. Okay, take a look at this again, okay? Look at the center part of this leather. It's the same color as the laces. This leather is like an Oreo of leather. So if you look closely, look how thick it is. It's tiger striped on the inside. These boots, the leather of these boots is tiger striped entirely all the way through on the other side. It's kind of crazy. And it's the same color as those laces. They're yellow and gold alternating like tiger stripe laces. This is really a tiger boot, I'd say. It's a hero's tiger boot. Our hero slaves say anyway. It's the 10877s are nothing like this. These are just solid brown, and I think the new 877 is just solid brown. So I mean, the vintage 877 is really an art piece. I'll show you. The first day I took it out of the box, again, they felt so small. It's got very much a glove-like fit compared to the modern 23 lass mock toe. Let's put these ones out of the way. It's got a very glove-like fit in the hand. And it's they respond to everything, you know. So I took this out of the box. I was like, okay. I was surprised at how light they were and how tiny they felt. They'd never been put on. Made in 1999, October 1999, just a couple of months before the biggest New Year's Eve day party of all time. These were meant to be worn New Year's Eve 1999. The person wearing these was going to be dancing and singing to Prince's 1999. It was the turn of the century. Probably the most exciting day in the last 100 years that we know of. But fate intervened, and they didn't sell or something. Maybe somebody bought them and kept them in a box, and for 26 years they sat in a box. And so I ordered them, and you know, after I touched this, and I saw my fingerprint dripping in wax off just like it had. I looked at it, I was like, holy shit. This boot has my fingerprint in it now. And as I was checking them out and rolling it around, I realized that my fingerprint was all over the boot now. Like a Jackson Pollock painting. I could have sent them back, but it was the eBay global return policy, which meant that if I sent them back, they would just be sold off for pennies on the pound as a return thing, and they'd probably end up in a chop shop in India being sold off for keychain leather. You know, it was either I would wear them or I'd send them back and they'd go out for junk leather. This is like, I mean, you can't become a parent. I felt like I became a parent that day when I just opened them up. It was like a baby been dropped off my door. I could send them back legally, but ethically, I would be party to the destruction of this time capsule. So I find that in the sunshine, these shine, they shimmer, they glow like the coat of a wild stallion. Maybe the same horse that anime hero is riding on, right? That's how they glow, like the coat of a stallion, like a beautiful. They look they kind of look like nature. They have that same golden ratio encoded in the design, in the leather. These are encoded with the golden ratio. These boots are encoded the same way nature is encoded. And it's kind of, I think that art at its finest is when man, I think at its highest levels, it's when man or a man approximates nature. It's when an artist creates something that has the beauty of nature in it. And I don't mean it's a painting of nature, but I mean when it has that golden ratio, that when it has that like a Porsche 911, you look at it, an old Porsche 911 resembles a frog. And when you look at it, you see nature in it. You see something that's bigger than man. You see something that man channeled. He channeled God through the design of that car. When you look at the statue of David, you see something that looks more like nature than it does a piece of art. Because it looks like it's too beautiful to have been made by a man. You look at the Fender Stratocaster. It's a guitar they got right the first time. The first two guitars, the Stratocaster, the Telecaster, the Les Paul, were all perfect, and they've never been improved upon from its inception. And this boot is kind of one of those examples. Like, how do you improve a Porsche 911? How do you improve a Corvette? How do you improve an icon? If you don't like an icon, that's just your personal opinion. But when something has stood the test of time, like this design, the 877 Mach-Toe design, when it, in the 8-inch boot, when it stood the test of time like that, you can dislike it, but you're wrong. You're kind of wrong. Side effects of this boot. Well, there are side effects of this boot, okay? You're going to feel sexy. You're probably going to walk with more of a swagger. This is a leather sneaker. I mean, this is a leather sock. This is a protective leather sock. And you feel like a young American Indian running through the woods with his bow and arrow around his back. And this is what he's got protecting his feet. He's figured out that if he's going to run fast over sticks and stones and ice, he's got to have something protecting his feet. He's fashioned this leather sock. Really, that's what this is. Look, side effects of this boot is you're going to feel like Spider-Man, okay? You're going to feel grounded everywhere you go. You will be Spider-Man sometimes in these boots. I do a lot of trail running in these boots. That's how I break them in. I like the feeling of a boot breaking in. It hurts so good. Come on, baby. Let this thing make it hurt so good. Sometimes a boot doesn't feel like it should, but that's kind of what you want, because that's how you know that you're breaking in. You're breaking your body into the leather. You're molding your body into the cast. You're breaking its will against your form. And it will be forever part of you, like an extension of your body. It becomes and I think if you're going to have a boot that becomes an extension of your body that way, you want something that's just as beautiful as a work of art, as nature, because I love my feet. I work hard to have very strong athletic feet. I do hill sprinting and deadlifts, so I want something that's just as beautiful as my foot is. Right? You want something that's made by God, just like my foot is. So here's what I do to break these in, right, guys? I like to do hill sprinting. First, I wear them around the house barefoot. I mean, this is the original barefoot boot. It's a big, wide, barefoot feel. You can roll your toes around. I do yoga in these. I do Pilates. I do squats. You're so grounded. This gives you that. Long before Vivo Barefoot came along, this Red Wing was really the first barefoot boot. This just lets your foot, it lets your ankle. It's like It's kind of like an old baseball glove. Now, I've only been wearing them for 3 weeks since I got them, but they've already broken so much. It's like this boot sat in a box for 26 years, waiting to be loved, waiting to be worn, waiting to have an owner, a master. And it just sat in that box, man, as the countdown dropping the ball in 1999 happened, and then Y2K that never came, and then 9/11 and the internet, and 26 years of change happened while these boots sat lovingly cared for. Like, they've been stored absolutely perfect. When I got these, the laces, they were so new that when I put the laces through for the first time, they just shed a layer. You know when Charlie Brown's fucking Christmas tree, just like, it just withers and gives up and lets everything go? That's what these laces did. It was like they had been holding in 26 years of tension, waiting to be loved, waiting to be strung for the first time. And when I put them on my feet, it's like they just released something, and it was beautiful again. It was like nature, because it seemed like a living organism, that it just was able to go, finally somebody loves me. Now, how in the world could I have said, you know what, after feeling that, I've decided, I don't know, they're too big, they're not worth the money, whatever, I'm going to send them back to eBay, to the global returns thing. They're going to end up in a trash can, basically. That's like accidentally adopting a couple little kids, all right? You end up in this situation, I don't know, someone dies, you end up like having to adopt 5 kids, like your sister's brother's cousin or something. You get all the kids, and you spend the first day with them, and you fall in love with them, but you still say, nah, man, and you give them back up to adoption, knowing you'll never know where they're going to go. Like, how could you do that to those kids? No one could do that. It would have been unethical, I think, to send these. Again, they're a time capsule. So it's kind of hard for me to show you everything because I've got a microphone in my hand, but they're very fuzzy. Very, very fuzzy on the inside. It's like, look at this. Look at that. I don't know if you can see that. But, yeah. So, yeah, as I said, wear these only if you want to feel like Spider-Man. Wear these only if you want to feel like Steve McQueen. Wear these only if you're ready to take on the problems of New York City as Spider-Man 11. Ahoo! Ahoo! Suede gusset, faded yoke wedge, sole for sun-faded vintage look, custom width size. And I got these in an EE, the only pair on all of eBay in the world ever made an EE. They must have been a custom vintage last. The vintage, if you ever get a pair of vintage 877s, the number 23 from prior to 2003 is it's very small and glove-like, and it's the softest thing I've ever put on my feet. These were the softest boots I've ever got put on my feet. You know, the side effect of this boot, you're going to feel sexy, all right? You are going to feel like a man. You're going to feel like rolling your pants up. You'll feel grounded everywhere you go. You'll feel locked in and connected to Mother Earth. Your feet will be massaged with every step. You'll feel these boots massaging your feet. You're going to have the feeling like you just spent $849, but you still have $400 in your pocket for some reason. In other words, you're going to feel like a good deal. You're going to feel stronger. You're going to feel protected and wrapped in leather. This is just a big, open, barefoot baby boy. Look at that. Look at that beautiful baby boy right there. Right out of a Miyazaki anime. Okay?